So do answer that. Why is it important right now, this very moment?
Well, for a number of reasons, really. I mean, you know, for one, obviously, the music business is in an interesting place. AI and people think that they're going to start some sort of synthetic revolution. Not on my watch. Okay. And I know there's a lot of people, Jara and all those guys, man. No, we got to step up. And luckily, I've gotten to know George Clinton a little bit, and he's been really kind of, just a good person to just having the atmosphere, him and Bootsy, and I mean, because they never stop making funk. They never stop saying funk. They never stop speaking funk, and putting that energy and that inspiration out there. So so I'm just really kind of following in their footsteps, basically, and standing on their shoulders as much as I can. And the fact that obviously coming from Minneapolis, and the fact that obviously part of the whole legacy of the Minneapolis reality. So, all of that is really why. And I think really I want to see funk music, and artists and really creating songs and creating music and creating a whole, you know, um, entity, not picking things from somewhere else and all that. It's, there's, funk was in a self-contained,
Yeah,
product. You know what I mean? And so, I want to get back to that self-contained kind of, spirit of making music. And so that's one of the reasons. And then the other, there's several reasons really. The other reason is, I think there was one or two times where, brothers that, I helped out a lot, and I mean, they'd say, they'd talk about the music and the Minneapolis sound. I wouldn't mention my name. And I'm like, wait a minute, you know, um, and so I thought, you know what? I realized they're going to keep going like that, and that's fine. That's good for them, and I'm happy for them. I'm proud of them, and all that other kind of stuff. But I'm just not like that. I just, I think, when somebody, helps me out, I appreciate it, and I give them their flowers, and I let people know, and I always assume that it's going to be the same thing. And
yeah,
I've come to realize throughout the years, it's never been that way. And I'm like, okay, because they know me. They know that Dre is the one. Dre will come back and he will, bust out some stuff. Because just because I can do different things doesn't mean I can't. I can funk with. I know how funk is created because I was creating it before I met a lot of those guys. So anyway,
yeah,
I'm just happy to see everybody doing their thing. But now I'm going to do my thing in a very very funky way, and make a funky statement, and really kind of do what I can do to put funk where it belongs, and that's on top.
I
Because I
heard
tell
that,
you,
man.
ain't nobody ain't nobody around that can do it like this. So and I'm gonna prove it. So yeah,
Yeah,
we're gonna have fun. Really, that's really what it's all about. That's
yeah,
the other
man.
reason I thought people need to really have some fun,
Mhm.
and escape, and really some funky fun where they can just dance and really kind of get back into the joy of life and what it's all about. So yeah,
Yeah, that's what funk's all about, man. Fun with a K, man. Just having
thank
fun
you,
with it.
thank
Yeah.
you.